Oh shit, my mic was muted. Welcome back, guys, to Starcraft 2 Remax, your daily or weekly Starcraft 2 talk show. We're consistent. We're here to stay. How you guys doing?
Oh, we started the show again? Fucking hell.
Yeah, we're live
Okay,
now.
there's some people asking in the Reddit thread about Swarm Host versus Terran in like Bio Mine or whatever. So, and Jona, I know Jona's been playing. Sorry, we've been doing some reps and shit. Swarm
Yeah,
Host versus.
they didn't see you lift those weights, by the way. If you want to start again,
Okay,
feel
go
free
ahead.
to.
What weights are you talking about?
What ways are you talking about, desRow?
Yeah, okay. Well, okay,
We just have our natural pump.
Not good.
okay. So yeah, talk to Jona about the Swarmos thing, because
I know Jona's playing Swarm Host against Terran Bio. That's I got him on the show for, basically. Let's talk about it. I nearly forgot about it. I was sat there pissing and I thought, yeah, Jona's here for a reason.
Jesus Christ, why is he even here?
Carry on.
Okay. So do you want me to just like start talking about it, or do you want to?
I don't know if everyone's got any like specificness about it, but
I
think it's
just like
people
why,
just interested.
why it's good or why it's working. I
Yeah,
guess.
go Swarm Host over just normal regular.
I think you can go Swarm once early game against Bio. Like it's too mobile, you'll just die straight away. But the way Snoop's been doing it is going Ling, Bane, Muta like for quite a while, and then once he's stabilized, he goes into Swarmos. And what's particularly nice about it is that you don't have to save a gigantic gas bank to start your hive, to get your 3/3 upgrades, and to invest into Ultralisks, which is usually a window where you like invest so much gas into all those things that you're vulnerable. So you delay it for a long time to get your late game transition going. Well, if you go Swarmos, you can transition to like your late game a lot earlier because you don't have to make those investments all so quickly. You can kind of like slowly transition into the late game. It feels a lot more natural in that sense. But it is a lot less mobile. So I'm not sure if it's here to stay or if it's just good right now because Terrans do not know how to deal with it.
Okay.
I was thinking, I was muted. I was seeing the Koreans playing against Snoots, and they just didn't really seem like have a decent idea what to do. They were dropping and shit. But what Snoot was doing is just making so much static defense, they couldn't drop or anything. So I was just wondering, what do you think Terran could do against it?
I think you have to do the kind of stuff you do against Furus, like when you watch Pole play against Furus, like with two big groups of army.
Yeah.
And, like,
so you'd snipe a base and run off, sort of thing?
Yeah, but like with big groups of army, like small groups will get obliterated by Mutaling Bane, but because you have so much supply in Muta and so much supply in Swarmos, your ground army is not that big. So single drops and double drops are fine because you have static and you have Muta, but if you have like the big groups of army where there's like 5 medefacts, a Thor or 2, and like a bunch of bio, and you're on a low SCV count, and you poke at multiple places at the same time, I think it's really hard to deal with Reserve.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe we'll start seeing tanks like just Terran transitioning to Mech late game, but it's difficult. Like the only player that I've seen like transition from Bio to Mech successfully is Bibion, and he's quite unique.
Yeah, I'm doing not recently, but Fantasy was the first player to do it, like on stream sort of thing. Like he went Bio into Mech, no Mech into Bio Mech. So I don't know if that would be quite strong, but I think it's really like map dependent on some of these strats. It's like just some of them just don't work.
And the good thing is that Locust don't get one-shotted by mines, so they trigger mines, but they don't die in one shot. Like,
are you serious?
Yeah, Locust. I don't think Locust get one-shotted by mines. I think they get two-shotted. So
Locust,
like,
man.
even if you have like a few Swarmos just to trigger mines infinitely, it's pretty good.
This is why Swarm Host is killing SE2.
Man, Swarmos are so.
Yeah, let's talk about.
Let's whine a bit about Swarmos, yeah, boy.
Because it absolutely fucking destroys any sort of entertaining game.
I don't know, like, there's some...
Not 100% sure, but I think it doesn't
Yeah, some situations.
I was talking with Huck last week, and I feel like sometimes you'll see a Zerg that's gonna hold off, like, a gateway pressure in PvZ, and then he's like, slightly ahead, right? Or maybe ahead. And then he transitions into Swarmos, and because Swarmos is, like, a little bit immobile, and, like, it kind of gives you, like, a window, like, the Protoss will more easily come back. In my opinion, at least, maybe Harstem or Jona can disagree with me, but they'll easily come back and make the game even again. compared to just, doing brute force, roach hydra, or maybe doing mutas. I feel like Swarmos, even though they're really annoying late game, in the mid game, if I see someone do Swarmos, I'm like, oh, the Protoss has a chance. Am I wrong, Kevin?
I think.
Jona?
Okay, sorry. Karen.
It's so map dependent though. Like,
Yeah.
imagine a map like merry-go-round, they take the middle, you lose the game. Like, they can kill your third from there. Like,
Yeah.
it's just game over
But if
once
we're
they get the
talking
third.
like King Sejan, like, you have to walk like a while with the Swarmos.
Still, it's kind of easy to deny your 5th and 6th base. Your 4th base is not possible for them to deny easily, so you can take that one very easily.
Mhm.
As well on King's Sejong, there's lots of paths where you can basically walk with your army. You can go between their natural and their 4th or 5th base, like the one in the middle, So the middle and their backdoor natural, you can go back and forth up until the point that they have Vipers. And once they have Vipers, the game just dies. You have to go to Tempest. They get a shit ton of spores. You take a mothership. You take your middle 5th base. You cannon up your 4th a lot, and then you just kind of shoot at his spores, and slowly but surely pick away at him. He takes one of your, like, it gets this stupid, boring game where you just sit and shoot at his stuff, and he transfuses his stuff, and you're both wondering what's going wrong with your life. And
Do you feel like Protoss or Zerg wins, like, played perfectly?
if both play,
It's like a unending fucking stalemate of Tempest shooting fucking nothing.
yeah,
And
that
the
gets
whole fucking
transfused by
game-
queens.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Then one player
You're
makes
like-
a mistake and the game's over. It's like, what the fuck's the point of
Because-
this?
If you get too many Tempest, they'll get like this huge corruptor ball, and they go like, they go like, and they're like, and you see it coming, and you storm, and you hit like 2 corruptors, and like, yeah, fuck my life. You leave the game, you're telling me shit at live, and go into the next ladder game.
Then there's the problem of you think about if you take out Swarm hosts, then Zerg are fucked. Like, I don't know. I can't think of anything other than Swarm hosts right now that like Zerg would do.
On some maps, you can play Ultra, and then go big Muta switch. If you have like Ultra, Viper, Infestor, you need like the big air army with like Tempest and shit with it to do well. And you can't really move out in the open. But I guess in the end, it always like depends if Protoss is ready for the follow-up switch, because you're gonna be able to beat that army. So I do believe that Swarmhost is the only like real viable late game. But it's just like it just kills it, It really kills the hype of a game. As well, like you can be ahead. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there's going to be swarm hosts, and you're not going to be able to kill them. As long as the swarm hosts stay alive, it doesn't matter what else you do. Like, they're still... Oh, it's so annoying. It feels like you can be playing the game of your life, and it doesn't really matter against swarm hosts. Like, you kill 3 bases with sick drops, like, you pick up your zealots before they die and shit, and he'll still have 25 swarm hosts. And if you're playing a shitty game, you lose all your drops, you don't do any damage, he's still going to have 25 swarm hosts with, like, a slightly bigger bank. It's just so stupid, and it doesn't... Like, I really hate playing against it.
It's the same. It's like Blizzard will come out and they say they want to make Mech viable against all races, and then they
Why?
bring out Swarmhost, and then you watch a game like MMA against Snoot, and Snoot just sits there for fucking ages throwing out Lucas and shit. And MMA almost makes it work, and you can't win. There's like he'll do anything he can, and he just can't win. And if
I
you
don't
want to
think-
play like a Villo, and I hate to bring him up, and bring him like fucking Mass Raven, it's not even that viable. You'll watch MVP try and do it, and he did it on that fucking stupid map where you can get like
That wing.
4 or 5 free bases. You can't win on that either. It's just pointless.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
don't
like
think
you're basically delaying your loss by making PDDs.
I don't think
That's
it's
my-
unbeatable, though.
If you take the entire map.
You mean
then-
TVZ?
Yeah, I
No,
think
like,
so.
even also in PvZ, like, it's very beatable. It's just so boring. It's
No, I think he means like about Mech. Like,
oh, man.
I was just bringing it in both ways. I think.
I think Mech, if Mech plays perfect TVZ and like controls perfectly late game, I don't think it loses to any composition.
I don't know.
Like,
I think it's again map dependent. Like
maybe, yeah, if the map is really big and Zerg can like keep like throwing away like 6,000 resources to kill 500 of Terran, maybe. But PDD makes fights incredibly hard, and the Vikings will always shoot the Vipers before the Vipers pull something. So I don't think you can kill Terran unless you like out multitask him with Midas, like
But do you remember Deathwing Snut against Major, that game in Nation
yeah,
Wars?
but I think I don't know why Major started pushing like.
Yeah, but like Major plays like with the air army is very difficult to control. Like it has a big tendency to clump, like the Raven Viking and stuff. And it's just like 1 hour of not like playing perfect, but playing very close to perfect how to play against his composition. And one time he clumps his units, and Snutter gets like a fungal off, and the game just instantly ends like that. And it's so frustrating. It's the same in PvZ. If your mothership gets like vipered in, you just instantly lose any kind of right to be wherever you are at that certain moment in the map. You get pushed back to one of your bases, you're gonna lose a base, like, for sure. And, like, creep is gonna be, like, back. You just lost, like, 2k resources because you lost bases, you lost, like, some stuff in the retreat. And you have to do, like, 30 minutes of work again just to get, like, one Viper has to pull one time. You can kill 25 Vipers if one time he pulls it. Like, you're still most likely gonna lose the game, which is so extremely frustrating. I know it's bad in PvT like this as well. Like, Terran can play very close to perfect, but if he gets his army like stormed a lot, like it's kind of over as well. But it's still different than like a single fungal, or like, because it keeps it in position. Out of a storm you can walk, and the same like with a Viper, you can pull the mothership. It's just over. Like the corrupt's just like one shot and your mothership is gone.
What do you think of a lot of?
Well, seeing as before you talk, seeing as Jona's the only Zerg player on like high level here, he can like talk about it from the other side as well, because yeah, just.
I don't like playing it against Protoss because it feels like I'm like killing my soul slowly.
Yeah, because every time I watch you, you just go Roach Hydra Viper.
Yeah, that was just today. I usually do Muta.
Yeah, you did a lot of Muta. You did well versus Zero, man.
Yeah, I think looking back, I should have definitely won that series. Like, I was 6 base against 2. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like if Protoss plays perfect, Protoss wins. Like, I don't see how Zerg is gonna kill stuff from Protoss if Protoss zones like perfectly with High Templar, and that's like insanely hard. I'm not saying like Protoss should never lose to it, but I feel like I don't feel like Swarmos is like the ultimate composition. I don't feel like it will eventually like be the winning strategy. That's why I don't practice it. Like, even if it's mind killing, but I would be convinced that it would actually be like the best thing to do, I would probably practice it. But for some reason, it feels like Protoss should win.
Sometimes I get the feeling in PvZ that it's a lot like poker with the opening. It's like, is he gonna do this bullshit? I mean, should I call it? Should I call it? And then sometimes you don't call it and you die.
Yeah, a bit, like with some timings, and then.
I feel like there's a lot of like mind game and build order, like not luck, but like, are you behind? Or are you ahead? And yes.
Yeah, maybe. I don't.
You can disagree with me here. It's
I
okay.
think I'll become a believer when top Koreans start doing it. I mean, Sulky made 5, but that doesn't really count. So.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Like Turtle Swarm, they were trying it for a while in Proleague.
Yeah.
Like, you would see
like
Rogue
a couple
do
of
it,
players would do it.
and Roro was doing it as well, and it was working for a while. But I feel like it's been figured out on Korea server. I really want one of our like Swarmos fanatics like Snoot to go Korea server and get smashed by Korean Protosses enough times for him to like
realize
like that. I think that's what's gonna happen. Like, or he actually like teaches the entire Korean server that's how to play. But
didn't he wreck Stork like the last 2 times they played though?
yeah, but Stork plays really like. Whenever I watch Stork play PvZ, he just does all-ins. Like, I don't expect him to
He's the Korean
play late.
most.
I never see like Stork go late game PvZ. So maybe he's like uncomfortable.
Did you miss
with
the
it.
Nimbus game on Shenzhen? Shenzhen Snut against Stork on Shenzhen. They played
Yeah,
the game on Nimbus, which was like an hour and 20 minutes, and he played quite well, but like Snut just murdered him. And Stork is like quite good as well. I'm not sure. Go on.
Do you think the mothership core should not be able to? No, the mothership should not be able to be abducted.
No, that would be broken.
Yeah, then
Like,
Zerg
I
can't
would
turn it
love
off.
that, but that would be very broken.
Do you think
That would be great.
You think
That
it'd
would be a
too...
nice change.
you think it'd be too one-sided?
Yeah, I don't think Zerg can win at all at that point.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? Like abducting the mothership. Like that's what.
Yeah, kind of. The locals can start doing damage and stuff.
Of course, it's still possible for Zerg. Like Zergs do like shit like run-bys as well, but like Proteus, they're strong, man. That's some real bullshit. When they start doing that with the Swarmos, or like they start throwing away their Swarmos, have like kind of 4 or 5 different groups of Swarmos, like attacking different bases. It's so difficult because you need to keep your army balled up, and there's nothing that kills Swarm hosts that isn't flying. But you can't send flying units there because queens, like anything flying, like if you send 2 void rays, like 2 queens completely murder it, or like even a single spore. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I really hate
small
Swarmos.
maps. On small maps, I feel like it's definitely like maybe the ultimate strategy, but on bigger maps, I don't feel like it should be viable.
No, bigger maps, that's shit.
think on bigger maps, I feel like if Rhoda's just turtles really hard, I don't see like how Zerg should win. Like it played perfectly. Like you can outplay almost any opponent, and even in Code S, like Zergs win against good Protoss. So it's not like necessarily a balance complaint, more like a design complaint that Zerg late game on big maps just doesn't have a real legitimate chance.
Unless in open maps like the Ultra shit and then into Mura. Like there's no ultimate deadball army, but there's lots of ways to win the late game.
Yeah, I think like it's not imbalanced necessarily. I just say that the Zerg late game compositions, it's either Swarmhost or nothing, and it's like that against Terran and it's like that against Protoss. Like Ultras.
Ultras are very good. Solar uses them like almost every game on big maps.
Yeah,
and
if
he
I
has
watch
6 DVP.
The top Koreans will always transition into Ultra or something.
Ultra, and after that Mura, it's so sick, because it's a completely different army that you need, so you're gonna need a lot of money. And if they do like Ling, Baneling, harass and shit like that, it's so hard to get a lot of money, especially on bigger maps. So I don't think there's necessarily like no big good composition for big maps. I actually think PvZ is quite okay right now, balance-wise, as well, like in every state of the game. There isn't as many all-ins. Yeah, there's still a lot of all-ins, who am I kidding?
I feel like the 2 base timings have died down much more. Like it used to be a lot more popular at the beginning, and in wings a lot.
Yeah,
they'll come back in swings. Like when first everyone's playing macro, then suddenly all-ins will become more popular again and we'll go back down and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched enough of the Ultra games, but I don't feel like Ultra is a long-term solution. I feel like it's something that Protoss will have to get used to again for a bit, because it hasn't been used for quite a while and now it's coming back again. I don't know.
Actually, on Aligalac for the month of July, let's take a look, guys. The month of July, TVZ 48% and PVZ. It's not letting me mouse over, but it's because it's right on top. It's like 49%. So that's pretty close, you know, 2% difference. Before we move on to something else, the Widowmine change, Harstem. What's your take on it?
That's my take. Like it doesn't.
Yeah. Does it affect the matchup at all? Does it?
Like no, actually, Widowmine skill probes.
Yeah.
Like,
but the time warp though, 10 seconds.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't like that.
Do you think they should put it at 75 energy?
Oh shit.
Yeah, I guess they should. Like they would like. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Because it feels like there's so little. Like you'll see a lot of players time warp out of habit. But then you go back and you're like, that was a shit time warp. 10 seconds didn't do anything. Like, he should have kept his energy, you know? Like, you'll see sometimes in PvZ, there's going to be a time warp. And then, you know, maybe 20 seconds later, it should have been a recall. Doesn't have the energy. And then, like, he dies or something.
Yeah, time warp is, like, very useless as a zoning tool now. It used to be, a kind of a second force suit, you know? You would put it somewhere and the army couldn't really go through there. Unless he had so much more already that he already kind of won the game. It was very good against SCV pools because of that, because they couldn't really like stim up a ramp, you know, be like, surprise, we're up your ramp, and then you would like miss your force suit or something because it just went so slow. Now it's not really a zoning tool anymore in that way. It's more of just something you use in a straight up engagement, and it just is there for 10 seconds, and after that like it is like it would have no use normally in those fights after the 10 seconds anyway. So in the like straight up engagements, for example in PvT with like Colossus all in or something, it's still very strong. So I guess that's the reason why they didn't bring it back down to 75 energy, to not increase like those one fight all-ins that TOS has been using quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, before we just move on, like with the mine buff, I think it's pretty cool that you see more players in Korea, especially Maru and Byung. They'll drop everywhere, but with mines as well. They'll drop in bases and just take down the base, and the zealots will get instantly like fucking destroyed when they warp them in. So that was just like a cool little thing to point out. And then so now because we're done talking about this now because it's just kept on going.
Okay.
So just
okay.
If anyone has any questions, just hashtag SE2 Remaxed on Twitter. Yeah. But now we're gonna talk about the Hong Kong esports thing, just like really fucking briefly. Not the Hong Kong, the Taiwanese thing, Sen one. So desRow, you can start us off with that shit. Because we were talking far too long about that.
Okay. So Sen ended up winning versus Yon. He ended up winning 4-3, very close series. Now, this is considered a premier tournament. And I'm not a Sen hater, but a premier tournament with 1 Protoss and 3 or 4 decent Koreans. So send 1, but it wasn't, like a sick lineup. So you had Teja, Lina, Kion, Jadon, Bomber, True, and the rest were Taiwanese. So it's good for the Taiwanese scene that they had, they had Sen win. But what do you guys think? Jona, did you watch any of the ZVZs?
No, I don't like watching tournaments where there's like shallow player pool and too much of the same matchup. Like,
okay.
So.
Yeah, because
I feel everyone was just like watching this tournament. No one really actually took any attention to it because Proleague was on the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. I just wanted to bring it up while we were waiting for people to come in with questions.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. In the top 4, you have 2 Yo Flash Wolf, the same team as Lenok. You had Yan and Has one of the only Protoss finishing 3rd. So just a little note. Now let me bring up the Twitter feed. Starcraft 2 Remaxed with an ED at the end because Feedme is special, and that's what he told me to do. So we'll start from the bottom. All right. What do you think about flash kicking streamers during the IEM qualifier? And please unban DG Elium. All right, that's been taken care of. What do you guys think about flash snubbing the streamers? We'll start with Feedme because he's unfiltered as hell.
I think it's totally up to IAM. If it's in their rules, it's fine. But I think it's a total dick move by Flash and Ty because they did it as well. Like, I mean, if you want to compete in a tournament, your fucking build's going to be shown anyway eventually, I guess. Like, that's my opinion anyway.
I think Caspa, like, if IEM doesn't allow it, I think Caspa will make trouble. So I don't think, like, and you kind of need Caspa players, and you like, of course, IEM wants Caspa players in their tournament. So I guess it's a small price to pay to have Flash and the boys show up. Of course, I'm very sad about it because I would love to, download the replays, because normally you have to upload the replays as well. Sometimes you can download them.
Yeah, because I asked about this on Twitter to some. I think Fenner was there. He was saying the admin was doing it manually, so they wouldn't be uploading shit.
Yeah.
That's quite disappointing.
But I mean, like, if at least there's no replay, you should let the streamers guess. Like, IEM, they have to make money somehow, and they need stats to prove to, like, Intel and all the sponsors that it's worth putting money into StarCraft 2. So if you have, like, Flash and TY snubbing the streamers, it just doesn't help anyone. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, if, like, Flash makes it to Toronto, it's nice for the fans in Toronto, and it helps the Toronto event, but the qualifiers are an important part of the ecosystem, and we need good numbers. So, as much as I love Flash, hopefully, IEM forces them to do otherwise. Any thoughts, Jona?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no right decision, I guess, in this situation. So I guess they probably picked the decision that was most favorable for their organization. Like, I see how it's annoying for the streamers, and I see how they also want to be friends with Kespa. So I guess they prioritize being friends with Kespa.
Okay. Next question, and a very interesting one in my opinion. Thoughts on Byung's TVP Mech he showed during Pro League? I think it was versus Classic, and I forgot who was the other one. Maybe Feedme, you can fill me in.
Rain? No, Parting.
Rain or Parting, yeah.
It was Parting.
Yeah.
Parting destroyed him, didn't he? With like a stupid brick timing? Yeah, I remember that.
But Byung was like been practicing that map obviously every fucking day for the Pro League.
Yeah,
so
Coach Park
it's
was
very map dependent. I don't know what Kevin thinks about it. I'll let him talk about it because I'm not fucking any good at this game.
Okay. I think Classic scouted late, and like you could see on the video feed of his camera when he saw that it was Mech, his jaw dropped. And Classic already has a big jaw, so it was quite a drop. And if you don't scout Mech, it's like that time you play a Velo on the ladder and you don't realize it's a Velo because it's on a barcode. And then you go Colossus. Like, if you commit to Colossus versus Mech, I feel like you're quite behind. Do you agree, Kevin?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the least favorable tech route. Like, you're better with DTs, you're better with Templars, you're better with double forge upgrades.
DTs isn't like a tech route, though, is it? It's like a thing.
Well, yeah, no,
You
it's
just
an
watch
it's an option you have to like. fuck them.
Maybe for my man in control, it's a background, you know? It's
Okay,
more of a way
in
of life.
control.
Like.
There's Roman here.
Yeah, but do you feel like the way I feel about Mech? Maybe you don't feel that way. Is that if you let them have a fourth, you better prepare to have a nightmare. Like it's gonna be a lot of hassle. They're gonna have a lot of resources. So like the way I always try to play is to not let them grab a fourth. Put a lot of pressure onto the fourth.
The thing is, he only won the first game is because he managed to float a base to the fucking island. That's the only reason he won, let's be real.
Okay.
Like, I don't actually get why he does it on Outboxer, because I think that's actually the worst possible map. Like, it's so big, there's lots of spaces where you can get attacked from, and your opponent can take, like, any base on the map. Well, when you play Mech, you kind of want everything to be tight and easy to, kind of easily defendable bases, but his fort is so far away, there's lots of area to cover with, like, supply depots and stuff like that. I didn't really get why he picked this specific map to play Mech on. It can be strong.
A lot of Terrans play TVZ Mech on this map, like Flashes played against Sulky. I think it's because you can kind of split the map, but it's really difficult to do it still. I think it's just one of the more better ones in the Pro League sort of thing to do it. That's the only reason I think he's probably done it.
Okay.
But in general, I don't think Mech is too good. It's like, it's one of those things, if you don't...
let's be real, Kevin. It's terrible.
Jona, do you like seeing Mech in TVP, or you don't see it?
I don't know, like, the games that it happens, it's cool because it rarely happens, but if it would become a standard and it would become the turtle-ish style, I wouldn't like it. I think TVP is fun to watch when it's bio, and I think it should stay that way as long as Mech is, like, turtle, you know?
Okay. So the next question is, and it's an interesting one again, we have good questions today. Do you think more StarCraft 2 tournaments should have finals outside rather than inside? The finals that we had outside would be the last Pro League, the GSTL on the beach, and then I think that's about it, really. There was a lot in Brood War when they had like 200K crowd, but what do you guys think? Outside versus inside?
Okay.
No?
Yeah, who cares?
Okay.
What?
Okay.
There's no difference.
Wow.
It's nice to have it outside,
Yeah.
but what I was thinking, what if it starts raining? What happens then?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
No,
it's
but for real, what would they have done if it would have started? I'm legit.
I think it's
curious.
really unlikely in Korea right now, right? Because it's like summer, so
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, but that's taking a huge risk, isn't it? Like, let's hope it doesn't rain today, boys. No, like,
Yeah.
I'm for real. Like, what was it? Did they have like a backup plan? Because
Ponchos
like,
on
the
the
crowd was
receipt?
just...
Yeah.
Really?
I'm sure.
I have no idea. But
Like, it seemed so weird to me. Like, the weather wasn't particularly good either. Like, I was so surprised. I was, damn, this guy's taking some big risks, you know?
Mhm.
That's all I was thinking about when I was watching the final. Maybe we could ask someone with knowledge about it.
No, I mean, I think if you're gonna have a big crowd, of course, outside can fit more people. Of course, it's a big risk. It's something that hasn't been done a lot, so maybe I think DreamHack Summer could be one of the tournament to pull it off. I don't think an IEM could do it because they always do in conventions. But maybe BlizzCon, if it wasn't at BlizzCon, you know, if WCS was hosted somewhere else. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay.
Just do 2 more questions, then end it. We'll go on too long.
2 more questions?
Yeah, and then done.
But I'm the one picking them, though. It's hard to not be biased. All right. Okay, that's a good one. Hopefully, because I said that last time and you guys crushed me. Thoughts on Axiom refusing to send players to DreamHack Moscow? Moscow? Moscow.
I didn't
they
get sent
didn't-
here by my management, so...
Because Total Biscuit was like, the Korean culture, you know, they hug each other, they touch each other, and so, they might, get attacked in Russia because of the anti-gay mentality, and so there's not a lot of players going to DreamHack Moscow. So what do you guys think about that? No?
It's
No,
not an
like-
issue. They didn't send any to the previous event, so who gives a fuck? It's just people trying to be on their high horse and bullshit. Who cares?
There's like very little people actually going to Moscow. Like when you looked at the first player list they released, it was like 50 Russians and like Patience and Golden.
Yeah. Face and Golden were scared as hell. They
Well-
were so scared.
Eh,
Yeah. Legit scared. Kevin, you're coming, like, we need protection right there. I'm like, nah, man, that's Cisco. Like, he can help you. No, but I think there's a lot of. I don't think it's as bad as he makes it out to be, especially not in the big cities. I think most of the really bad stuff happens like in the, what's it called? You know, not the big cities. I guess the small cities. Yeah, like the towns and shit. And in the big cities, it's kind of normal. There's not a huge like. Of course, people are a bit more opposed to homosexuality, and you just got to be careful. Like in any big city, I don't think it's worse than, for example, Sao Paulo. And a lot of people went to Sao Paulo, so I'm not sure what the big deal is about. It seems like people just want to, yeah, like Will said, just be on their high horse or have like a reason. Like maybe Axiom doesn't actually want to send them to DreamHack anyway. They're like, all right, we're not sending them because of this, but actually they don't want to spend money on it or something. I have no idea what the reason is that they're not doing it, but it seems like a bit of an odd reason. Then
they announced it kind of late, like where the venue is and if it's actually going to be held, because there were some rumors it wasn't continuing because the website wasn't like getting up for like months. And like then suddenly like at a random point the website goes live and it gets announced. Like we were planning to go with AT, like me and Uthermal were planning to go, but it was delayed so much like there was no information, and for a while like we actually thought they were going to cancel or something, and then suddenly they announced it. So maybe like especially for like expensive flights from like Korea, it's like because they can't book like far ahead because they're not sure. Then they have to pay like so much more, so they like give another reason. I don't know.
Okay. Next question, and it's gonna be our last. One change you would each make to the WCS system for 2015. One different for each person, if possible. So we'll start with Jona.
Start with me.
Yep.
I would just like region lock it.
But I guess it kind of is for EU.
Also.
Is that?
Well, yeah, because all the Koreans are playing. Like, there's very few. I think only MVPs playing online these days.
Sun.
Yeah.
Sun and MMA. Okay. But you'd want it region locked so that they would have to be permanently in EU then.
Yeah, and it's not. My main concern isn't EU. Like, I just think WCS America is really fucking boring.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Harstem?
I would like to have it like that they would have to come here and play on the ladder and shit like that. That would be nice. But I think MC, Jan, First, and Yoda coming to Europe is probably the best thing that happened to Europe in a long time.
Not for them, but for you guys, yeah.
Yeah, like their skill went down, our skill went up, and now we're a bit closer. It was like this, now we're like this, and the Casper Koreans are still here because they never left Korea. But like we also got like this much closer to the Casper Koreans, which is good. And I think you can see it in most tournaments as well, that we're actually like, I'm not too sure about, like there's a few Americans obviously doing quite well as well, but you can see a few Europeans that are consistently placing higher against Koreans, whether that be Casper Koreans or not, which I think is very good. And we didn't, like last year was complete shit. If you compare it to this year, even though this year we only had our first foreign win with Sen winning the Taiwan Open. I think the overall skill level of the Europeans has increased by a lot, and that's mainly because of Hyun and the boys coming here. So I wish there would be more people coming here. So even if they steal our money at the DreamHack and stuff like that, like I'm fine with that. It's just nice that we can become better and be a bit closer in skill.
But he said one change per person, so you kind of repeated what Jona said, putting you on the spot here.
My change is. I have no idea, man.
No?
Fuck that. Okay. I have to take the same as Jona.
Okay. To go on about what you guys are saying, I agree, and hopefully Blizzard will see that it's working for you guys. But the way it's going on with WCSNA Season 3, Neeb, Huck, Hygas, I'm thinking Blizzard will be like, wow, they're finally beating Koreans. Why should we change it, So I'm a little bit scared of Blizzard fucking it up in 2015 and not region locking it. Myself, what I would change is I would bring back the season finals. Only because we need crowds, we need like a live event, we need a clash of Kespa versus the world in an official setting. And so the season finals, they were planned poorly last year because it was like a week later after GSL Korea. Wow, season finals, who the fuck is Innovation? He won, but now he's not winning again. or who the fuck is Deer? No, Deer won twice in a row, but you get my point. So season finals would be really nice. Feedme, what would you change?
Wow. desRow.
I stole the point.
I would keep it how it is and just add the season finals and take away so many WCS points away from DreamHack and IEM.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing. BlizzCon. I think GSL Korea needs more points because the Kespa players are committed to Pro League, and because DreamHack, IEM, everything's giving WCS points. Some of the players from GSL Korea are just struggling to make the top 16 for BlizzCon, and I feel like they're the most interesting players to watch, but that's my opinion. So guys, that's it for the questions for SC2 Remaxed hashtag. We're getting close to the end of the show. We're gonna do the shoutouts. So basically, you know, each of us is gonna tell you, or Twitter, stuff like that, what tournament we're gonna attend soon, stream, etc. So we'll start with Will. Go on, my man. I believe in you.
You can just follow me on Twitter on FeedmeSC2 and shoutouts to Soy Pack Venice chat, and that's about it.
Okay. I'm not sure what that meant, but Jona, go ahead.
Well, thank you for having me. Shout out to my team, AT Gaming, and their sponsors, CM Storm, HyperX, Avermedia, Azo, Orkbyte, Spam. Follow me on Twitter, Jona, lowercase SC2. And that's about it. I stream.
Okay. Yeah, you stream often?
Yeah, almost daily for 4 hours.
Is it Jona_SC2 your stream as well?
No, it's like JERZLOL.
Okay, well, if you want to come type it in chat for the people.
Yeah.
Harstem, go ahead. Where can we find you? Do you stream often?
First of all, thank you to my main man desRow for having me on the show.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure and an honor. Secondly, I would like to shout out my team, Fnatic, and their sponsors, MSI, SteelSeries, ISO, Winamax, King of Shaves, Avast, Azubu, and DX Racer.
Wow.
Finally, you can follow me, twitter.com/FnaticHarstem. You can like me on facebook.com/Harstem, I think. Let me check real quick. Yeah, it's probably that. And I stream at azubu.tv/Harstem every now and then. I don't stream too often.
Okay.
And thanks everyone for cheering for me, and I hope you keep on cheering for me.
Okay.
Hashtag Year of the Harstem.
Okay, so the final shout out. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. It was a little bit rocky at first. It was a little bit rocky at first. This is my first time producing a show. It was bumpy roads, but I think we got our groove halfway through, and it was a lot of fun talking. If you have any feedback, you can still use the hashtag. I'll be reading every tweet, or you can post on Reddit. You can find my stream at twitch.tv desRow Fighting, where you're watching right now. Everything desRow Fighting, so Twitter, YouTube, and yeah, guys, we'll be back next week. New guests, new topics. Better production. Feedme might be more angry, more happy. Who knows? It's a toss up with him.
If you have any feedback for me, just let me know on Twitter, because I know I've talked a lot over these people because they have a lot more insight to the game. So
yeah,
there we go. I'll stop talking next time. Good night.
So thank you guys again for the support for the show. Great first show. Really happy. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.